What's going on, YouTube? Uncle Trashcan here with another deck profile. Today I'm going to be showcasing my black base Blackwargreymon deck. This is the deck I've had the most success with at locals. Usually the only thing I lose to with it is Bloom Lord. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it, and we'll go from there. So for our Digi Eggs, starting off with 4 of the Black Koromon from BT11. Inheritable is opponent's turn. Once per turn, when an opponent's Digimon is deleted, if this Digimon has Greymon in its name, draw 1 card. That'll come up fairly often when we get to the top end. But mostly he's there for a Black Egg and a Koromon source. Next up we have 4 of the BT8 Agumon. No inheritable. On play, reveal the top 4 cards of your deck. Add 1 card with Greymon in its name and 1 card with Dragonkin and its traits among them to your hand. Place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. Then we have 4 of the BT11 Agumon. While this Digimon has Greymon and Omnimon in its name, it gets plus 1000, and that is an all turns inheritable. It also Digivolves for 0 from a Koromon. And on play, reveal the top 4 cards of your deck. Add 1 Digimon with Greymon or Omnimon in its name and 1 Tamer with Taikamiya in its name among them to your hand. And then you place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. So this is actually kind of one of the more important searchers for the deck. Because being black-based, we're a more defensive playstyle. So the BT12 tie comes up quite a bit. But other than that, we have 1 more level 3, and that's going to be the Black Agumon X antibody. Digivolves for 0 from Agumon. It's another searching effect. On play, when Digivolving, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Add 1 card with Greymon or X antibody in its name, and 1 Black Tamer card from among them to your hand. Place the rest at the bottom in any order. That's it for our rookies. Again, super fun. I forgot to cover the Agumon X Anybody's Inheritable. When this Digimon with Greymon or Omnimon in its name would be deleted or returned to your deck or hand by an effect by placing 1 X Antibody from this Digimon's evolution cards at the bottom of its owner's deck. Prevent this Digimon from leaving play. So, that protection is really solid, and since we lost the BT11 Greymon X and it's now down to 1 copy, I preferred this form of protection, so I'm not getting rid of as many sources. But with this and the BT9 Greymon X, we can actually double up on the protection, which comes in handy quite a bit. So starting with our level 4s though, we have 4 BT8 Greymon, 6000 DP. We really only play it for its inheritable. While you have a red Digimon in play, this Digimon gains blocker. Again, like I said, we're a more defensive style deck. We turtled the board and control the game state. Next, we have 2 of the BT12 Greymon. Evolves for 2 from a level 3 with Agumon in its name. So it will always evolve for 2 in this deck. When Digivolving, if you don't have a Tamer with Taikamiya in its name in play, you may play 1 Tamer with Taikamiya in its name from your hand without paying its cost. So this is pretty much how we get our ties out. Nothing too special. I chose him mostly because of his inheritable. While this Digimon has Greymon or Omnimon in its name, it gets plus 1000 DP. So we're making our stacks pretty big, especially since we want to play the defense. Next up, we have the 3 BT9 Greymon X antibody. Digivolves for 0 from a Greymon, and all turns when this Digimon has Greymon or Omnimon in its name, and an effect would delete it or return it to your hand, you may trash 2 cards of the same level in this Digimon's evolution cards to prevent it from leaving play. Like I said, we pretty much just run this because the BT11 Greymon X is now limited to 1, and it lets us double down on our protection. Next up, we have the man himself, the one, the only, BT11 Greymon X Antibody. Evolves for 0 from a Greymon. When this Digimon would digivolve into a card with Greymon in its name, reduce the cost by 1 for each of that card's colors. Again, really, really good card. I understand why it had to be limited to 1, because decks like this and Raid War Greymon just accelerate too fast with that effect. This has the same protection effect as the Agumon X Antibody, putting an X Antibody option from the bottom of your stack to the bottom of your deck to prevent it from leaving play. So lots of protection, lots of defense options, even at our lower levels. Next we have our level 5s. Doing 2 of the BT8 de-digivolving Metal Greymon. We're really only running it for its de-digivolve because a lot of things have protection nowadays, and de-digivolve just helps get around a lot of that protection. And it pops floodgates. And then its inheritable is, while this Digimon has Dragonkin or Machine in its traits, it can also attack your opponent's unsuspended Digimon. So, again, like I said, we're striving to control the board kind of with this deck because we want the opponent to play our game. We don't want to be playing theirs. So, once we go over this, we just start attacking their guys unless we know we can get game. For other level 5s, we're doing 2 of the Raid Metal Greymon. Digivolves for 3 from a level 4 with Greymon in its name. On top of this Greymon X Antibody, it actually evolves for 1, because the Greymon X reduces its cost by 1 for each of its colors. It has Raid, which lets it attack. When it attacks, I can change the attack target to one of your opponent's unsuspended Digimon with the highest DP. I know a lot of people are playing around Raid right now, so I've thought about just switching back to 4 of this guy, but I really like having this option because of the all turns effect. Once per turn, when an attack target is switched, I can play a black or red tamer with a play cost of 4 or less from my hand without paying its cost. Really good, helps us cheat out our ties and our Yu-Yos. Inheritable, while this Digimon has Greymon or Omnimon in its name, it gains piercing. That comes up for one of our pseudo bosses anyways. So, again, really solid card. We have our last 4 level 5s, sorry, not level 4s, is 4 of the BT11 Metal Greymon X Antibody. When digivolving, until the end of your opponent's turn, this Digimon can't have its DP reduced by your opponent's effects, and it isn't affected by de-digivolve effects. Then, if Metal Greymon or X Antibody is in its evolution cards, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 6,000 DP or less. So not only does the X Antibody pop floodgates, it also plops pesky champions. It evolves for 1 over a Metal Greymon, but a lot of times it's not gonna matter as much once we get into our tamers and options, because we're going to be regaining that one quite often. Inheritable, opponent's turn, once per turn, when a Digimon becomes unsuspended, if this Digimon has Greymon or Omnimon in its name, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. So we're using this to burn through the opponent's security. That's it for our level 5s. Next up, we are going into our level 6s. Starting off, we've got 2 of the BT8 Blackwargreymon. When digivolving, if this Digimon has a red Digivolution card, choose any number of your opponent's Digimon. If this Digimon has a black evolution card, choose any number of your opponent's tamers. The chosen card's play cost must add up to 6 or less, and you delete those chosen cards. All turns, once per turn. When an opponent's Digimon is deleted, unsuspend this Digimon. Just a really solid card, one of my favorites in the game. Then we have our pseudo boss monster, Galmon from BT9. Digivolves for 2 from a Blackwargreymon. This card is also treated, not always, as having Greymon in its name. Security attack +1, reboot. When digivolving, if this has a black evolution card, de-digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon. If this Digimon has a red evolution card, blitz. The majority of our deck is red and black, so when we go into this guy, we're going to de-digivolve and blitz a majority of the time. Next up, we have what I think is the main boss of the deck, which is why I play 3 of it, and that would be our boy Blackwargreymon X Antibody. Again, like I said, I took a more defensive approach when I built this list. So, it digivolves for 2 from a Blackwargreymon. It has reboot. And once per turn, when your opponent's Digimon with the highest DP attacks, you may switch the attack target to this Digimon. And its other effect on the opponent's turn, once per turn, when a Digimon becomes unsuspended, if this Digimon has Blackwargreymon or X Antibody in its evolution cards, you may delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest play cost. So this is the guy that makes our Koromon live. And again, because we're more defensive and we want the opponent to play our game, not us play theirs. He's got the reboot, he's got the redirect, we're giving him blocker. And he's usually a 15k body on his own because of inheritables. We have our level 7s up next. And that's just... this is more of a flex spot. I don't play the Omnimon, the Blitz Omnimon from BT5, but I am playing the Omnimon X Antibody from BT5. It digivolves from a red level 6 by paying 6 memory, or a blue level 6 by paying 6 memory. Or, your Digimon with Omnimon in its name can evolve into this card from your hand for a memory cost of 3 or less, ignoring this card's evolution requirements. When attacking, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with less than or equal to DP, this Digimon's DP. And opponent's turn, when an opponent's Digimon attacks, you may trash 2 of this Digimon's evolution cards to end the attack. So, back when Grandis was running around, this was my response to Grandis. Because a lot of times they could just plow over my 15k Blackwargreymon X, so I needed the attack negator. That's really the only reason he's in here. I haven't messed around with this deck as much, because I've been experimenting around with my mill deck, which is on another profile. But he's one of the cards I would switch out, but I'm not quite sure with what yet. Next up, we have the BT10 Omnimon X Antibody. Evolves for 3 from an Omnimon, or 7 from a red or blue. When Digimon with X Antibody in its traits would evolve into this card, though, it reduces the evolution cost by 2. When digivolving, return all of your opponent's Digimon with the highest level to the bottom of their owner's deck in any order. So he's a board wipe. When digivolving, when attacking, once per turn, by placing one X Antibody or level 6 card from this Digimon's evolution cards at the bottom of its owner's deck, reveal all of your opponent's security cards and trash one of them. Place the rest back in your opponent's security stack face down, then your opponent shuffles their security stack. So, this is what I chose to run over Blitz Omni. Because he's an X Antibody target, and a lot of times Galmon for game isn't quite enough. Their opponent's sitting at 1 security, I go into Galmon, I'm going to Blitz, The X antibody effect will trigger and let me go into Omnimon X, and that is my win con. So next up we will have our tamers and options. Currently I'm running 3 of the BT12 Tai Kamiya. Start of your main phase and on play, one of your Digimon with Agumon or Greymon in its name gets 1000 DP and gains blocker until the end of your opponent's turn. Really solid effect, keeps the blocker online. Because of this card, I could easily switch back to a red-based deck and play the security attack +1 Greymons or any of our other good Greymon options, because I can still keep blocker alive. But one of the other reasons we mainly run him is for his other effect, though, which is your turn when your Digimon evolves into a Digimon with Greymon or Omnimon in its name. By suspending this tamer, gain 1 memory. Really solid card, really strong. Pseudo cool boy for our tribal. Next up we have 2 Yu Yakuga. He's our memory setter. And then your turn, when one of your Digimon evolves into a Digimon with Greymon in its name, you can suspend him. That Digimon gets 2000 DP until the end of your opponent's turn. If it Digivolved into a same level Digimon, it isn't affected by your opponent's options until the end of your opponent's turn. Just a really strong tamer for X Antibody Greymon decks. Even my Raid War Greymon list plays him as a 1-up. Next up, we have just 2 cool boys. I keep going back and forth between 2 and 3. I'm not really sure. He's a searcher. And he has so many targets he can grab with this deck. But I have horrible luck, so he whiffs for me almost every time. But the real reason we run him is it's cool boy. He's got tons of utility. When one of your Digimon evolves into a same level Digimon with X antibody in its traits, you may suspend this tamer to gain 1 memory and draw 1 card. Just really strong, really solid tamer. And just to get it out of the way, I am only playing 1 Hades Force because I needed room for a 3rd X antibody. I could easily cut out the attack negating Omnimon for my 2nd Hades Force. But with the way my setup is right now, I'm really liking these ratios because it's never winding up in security, and I draw enough, I always get it to my hand when I need it. Especially because our deck is focused on defense and turtling the game out. And last but not least, we have our 3X antibody options. X antibody is when you have a Digimon in play, you may use this card without meeting its color requirements. Security, gain 1 memory, add this card to its owner's hand. Main, place this card as the bottom evolution card of one of your Digimon without X antibody in its evolution cards. All turns, effects can't trash X antibody in this Digimon's evolution cards, and when attacking, this Digimon can evolve into a Digimon card with the X antibody in its trait from your hand for its evolution cost. That's the effect and the inheritable. The inheritable is the last part I read. All around, super solid card. We've been plagued by X antibodies since BT9, and quite honestly, this is my favorite of the X antibody decks. I've played Gallant X and Wargrey X now, and I still keep coming to Blackwargreymon. But overall, one of my most favorite decks to play. But if you guys liked what you saw, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And shout out to Zombie Dad Games for doing all the editing for this video and letting me post it on his channel in a cleaned up format. Thanks for watching.